Hi, I'm Jay Fallon. Thank you for listening to The Slippery Slope. So there's been a lot of new news coming out of China of recent, and a couple of different stories I think are pertinent and related. Sorry, I can't speak properly today. WEF founder, our old mate Klaus Schwab, he says that China is a role model apparently for many countries. In this article, I'll read to you, it says that so he obviously met with for an interview with the Chinese Communist Party owned broadcaster CGTN. He commended China's achievements and suggested the nation could be a role model for others around the world. Very interesting way to look at it, I suppose. So on the G20, the interviewer began, "You were there meeting some of the leaders as well as and Professor Schwab, what do you make of the result? It seems quite positive with all the voices included." That's what the interviewer asked. And Schwab goes on to say, "I think it's positive. The base has been formed, but we have to go one step further." Of course we do, according to him. "We have to make a strategic mood. We have to construct the world of tomorrow." Now, obviously, he's saying all this because he is trying to restructure the global economic system, and he's trying to restructure it to form his own system. And obviously, it's part of the Great Reset, which is the system that we all have to have, apparently. And but part of the plan or part of the issue with the Great Reset and this new economic system that he's trying to bring in is that he has to destroy the current system. So that's basically what he's trying to do at the moment. So he goes on to say, he went on to push for a systemic transformation of the world, adding that we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. Wow. So he goes on to say that I respect China's achievements over the last 40 years. That's one good way of looking at it, I suppose. It's looking at it, in a positive, trying to shine a positive light on China's achievements in the last 40 years. So you can overlook all the human rights issues. Don't worry about the Uyghurs and what they've been going through. They're still going through. Don't worry about these concentration camps that they've built, these COVID-19 camps. Don't worry about, welding the doors shut on buildings so that people can't get out. Don't worry about the riots, the protests that are currently going on. Don't worry about the fact that you're currently, it looked like, trying to destroy your own economic system in China because you are so adamant that you're going to persist with the COVID zero policy. Don't worry about all that. He is still impressed by China's achievements. He's really a glass half full kind of guy, I suppose. So he referred to them as tremendous. He suggested that China could act as a role model for many countries, admitting that in the end, each country should be left to make its own decisions regarding the system it wants to adopt. But he says that we should be very careful in imposing systems, but the Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries. Well, that's one way of looking at it, I suppose. It just shows you his thought process, and actually I think it just shows you how evil the man is, really. As I've said in a previous episode, he is out to destroy the economic system. They're currently trying to do this, and he is telling us, hey, the man and woman on the ground, you're the ones that are going to feel the heat. Anyway, so I want to talk about this and what Klaus Schwab has said about China and how great they are, to share with you this story here. And if you're on YouTube or watching this on Spotify, you'll be able to follow along. This story here comes from the Daily Mail. It says, demonstrator who led crowds calling for end of Xi Jinping and China's Communist Party not being seen. So apparently the demonstrator who led crowds calling for the abolition of the Communist Party of China and its leader, Xi Jinping, during China's massive anti-lockdown protests, hasn't been seen since he was arrested last weekend, according to reports. So the 27-year-old man, known only as Wang, was last seen on Sunday after police arrested him in a bar where he works, the Telegraph has reported. Wang appeared in a viral video of protests in Shanghai recently, The video is the latest in the series of scenes leaking out of China of nationwide protests against the country's strict COVID measures, including one of protesters throwing bottles at riot police. So in the video, Wang features in. He rouses the crowd by shouting out a series of questions as they respond. He asks Xi Jinping, to which the crowd shouts in reply, "Down with him." The crowd also gives the same response to the question, "Communist Party." So there you go. He gets arrested. So Wang's parents told the Telegraph that there has been no paperwork for their son's arrest and didn't seem comfortable to elaborate on what their son had done in the video. Well, yeah, they didn't seem comfortable because they face the possibility of being arrested themselves if they talk about it. But I'd just like to, doesn't it show the true nature of a person, such as our mate Klaus Schwab, who gets up there and talks with gushing admiration about the Chinese Communist Party and how great they are, and how, they're a shining light, a great example for other countries around the world. In the meantime, the people on the ground, the Chinese people who are protesting, just disappear. They're made to disappear, but apparently we can all overlook that. Nothing to worry about here. It just shows, I believe, the actual leader, the actual person that Klaus Schwab actually is. He's telling us that we're going to go broke. He's telling us that he's redoing the financial system and that we are all going to feel the pain while he restructures it, and we've got no choice. He's using environmental climate change propaganda to bring in his financial restructuring that he tells us we need. And he's lauding China as this great example, when in reality, I think they're about to face financial collapse because of the decisions that they're making. And they are showing the world more than ever that they are just a totalitarian nation with a despot for a leader. And this is who Klaus Schwab, who apparently he can just travel around everywhere, G20, B20, go to the COP27, stand up on stage and talk to anyone, talk to all the world leaders. He has the ear of global leaders everywhere, and he can just say whatever he wants. Don't you think that's a little strange that he can just applaud China in that way and no one pulls him up on it? No one else sits there and says, "Hey, well, actually China has a few things to answer for. Actually, do you know that this fellow who was leading demonstrations has just been disappeared? No one's heard of him since." Klaus Schwab is an evil man. The Chinese Communist Party will answer to God one day. And we as Christians need to keep praying for these Chinese people, the people in this nation, and pray for the church in this nation, pray for this world. But, I think this just highlights that the world itself is actually looking for a leader to stand up, rise up, and it will find it very soon, I believe. But Klaus Schwab, he is out there just tilling the soil, getting everyone ready for the hard times ahead, and hard times ahead. But he's just basically handing us. Can I say this word? He's handing us crap and telling us it's delightful chocolate and it's all good. You can eat it. That's my opinion. Thank you for listening. If you're watching this on Google, please like and share. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please like and share. It'd be awesome to have your support. Thank you for listening to The Slippery Slope